subscribe to my YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube so that the platform can grow. Are you doing good, Jack? Are you there, bro?
Gooder than you.
Yeah. I can hear
I'm
you.
here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro. No, man, I was just inviting people on the live. Basically, what I want to hear, bro, is just I'm gonna post this thing on my YouTube, right? So I just want to hear your opinion on the whole Ramaphosa Trump thing. In its whole holistic view, I'm gonna post this on my YouTube. So since I know you're someone who's opinionated, can you just tell me your opinion?
Sure. Just give me like a few seconds. Okay, give me a minute and I'll be right back. But
Okay. Okay. We're just waiting on Jock. Yeah, I can hear you. Now it's just something I was just doing here. Since I'm putting out some stuff on my YouTube, so I want to start getting people. This is just a test run, basically. I just want to get some people's perspectives, and then we'll see as it goes. So the whole Trump Ramaphosa situation, what's your views?
well, I think through the guidelines of what was showing, I think South Africa is now in a very separate. Well, I think everybody's diluting to a separate thought of what was said and what was shown, and our countries now at the sense of a very good sense of coming together or on the breaking point. I think everybody has their own opinion regarding what was said, especially those members that was brought up, such as Rupert, Aniels, and Goosen. Those three individuals wasn't there. They weren't invited during Audio to Ramaphosa. They were summoned from Donald J. Trump, and I think when they arrived with Ramaphosa thought obviously, okay, cool. My fellow South Africans will stand by and help it slide in the sense of we do stand together. We're not separate. And obviously they thought it's going to be like a backup from Ramaphosa's point of view, but obviously it didn't. I think we all were shocked. We all knew it was going to explode, but I would never have thought in a million years that is the way it would be, or what the way it was altercated of Donald J. Trump when he said turn down the lights. I knew, I knew that there was going to be some sort of video.
But on my side, right? This whole thing, the way it came out, it was controversial from the beginning, because Trump was saying that bad things are happening in South Africa. This and this is happening in South Africa. So I didn't expect a meeting that would be peaceful or whatever. No, those things had to be addressed. So I don't know why people are shocked that Trump would put those videos there and showcase everything he's been hearing, because he's been accusing, he's been accusing and saying this is happening in SA. So I don't understand why people are shocked. It basically, sparks were meant to fly. They were supposed to fly. If they didn't fly, then it would have been a useless meeting. Like, okay, you've been saying things are happening in SA, but when we are there face to face, What would you say about
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So Sparks had to fly somewhere.
No, definitely. The Spox. You know what is it, Justin? Me and you. I know we've had our altercations, and I know for a fact there's some sort of a belief that we believe as South Africans that we can one day in our country there will be a sense of the same morality of what we want in South Africa, and that is just the grace of feeling we do matter in South Africa. We all have different cultures, different agendas in our own life, personal agendas, but more or less to know that we can look at each other and say, there's another fellow South African. And if we ever go to a different state around the world, let's say we're in Jamaica or in Australia or in England, we can call each other out and say, hey, there's my brother and my sister from South Africa. But at this very point of time, our country is so divided with, I would say what it is, it's race bait, racial discrimination in our country. Our politicians, the politicians that was pre 1994, and adequacy of being part of the democracy of 225, that's political leaders. All of them they all have attributes of dividing us as South Africans. For an example, you'll see the EFF, the MK, the ANC, the DA. They all have different agendas, and that is just to keep themselves in power. And obviously, so proclaim they want to empower us as South Africans. Where? I don't see the empowerment when we go to different sections in South Africa. When you see normal human basic rights, that's not there. There's no even the normal state of our municipalities or roads or functionalities of our water supplies, basic accessities of toilets in rural areas. You don't get it. It's a, sorry for my French, Just King, but it's a fuck up. And then you want to compute of saying, okay, moralities of that is because we as a country, we don't have a great enough of economic background of GDP, or saying we don't have the strength as South Africans. Our country's backbone is crippled. Fair enough, but by proclaiming that our country is poor, that's not true. Our country is super rich when it comes to rare materials, rare minerals. Our mines are one of the best. South Africa pre-1994 was the first leading country in the world for gold. That's why we were flooded by other states in the world by coming to South Africa. And now you're saying our mines is now ranked number 24 in the world. That's pathetic, because we've got the best minerals in the world.
Exactly.
And it's been sold.
Yeah. You got like minerals, like 50, some of the minerals is 50% of the minerals in the world of a specific mineral is in South Africa. I forgot
exactly.
Which mineral is it. I forgot which mineral.
Just to give you a little bit of a background of what I do, right? So I'm not gonna say what company, but let me say I work in most of the mines in South Africa. And we go around all the provinces. We're actually going to Cape Town quite soon, but we as a country, we've got 3 rare earth mineral mines in South Africa. The other countries around the world, they maybe have 1, maybe 2. We've got 3. Those rare earth minerals is used for your batteries, the type of minerals that you would use, that would for factory use, for your chip manufacturing. That's for your laptops, that's for your cell phones, your batteries, electrical cars. Those rare earth minerals is very very mostly optimized in other countries. In our country, I wouldn't say we have it, or the facilities. We do have facilities. There's a leading factory in Cape Town. It's actually pre-owned by the Chinese. I don't know if you know the name Hisense, the brand.
Yeah.
So Yeah, so there's a factory, and those factories were actually proudly South African owned. We were manufacturing, what is that bloody name? Panasonic. Panasonic was pre-owned by South Africa. We were the ones that had the power for our own manufacturing. We sold it all. And the reason, hence me telling you why our economic or background in our industrialization in South Africa was so strong, Justin. And pre-1994, 2021, Mbeki he really did it. But when Jacob Zuma came into play, he made state capture. And he didn't just do state capture by enriching the state, brother. He took enterprises and privatized it by the state. So the state basically took all those entities and privately, domestically, went in, completely dismantled, took it owned or owned state owned, and the state crippled every single enterprises, the industry, our mining industry, all the enterprises such as SA Airlines, Eskom, and I can carry on, Transnet, you name it. So now our whole country is crippled because of the state capture. And I don't solidly only blame him. I'm blaming the whole ANC cabinet. Because they were the ones that was feeding themselves. They were backpocketing it. There's hundreds of claims. Not even hundreds, thousands of corruption claims from the ANC. And how do you go against the state? Because if you take the state to the High Court, the court or the justice system is owned due to the due to the ANC.
Yes, it is the state.
It is the state. So how do the state go against the state? And that's why you had so much implications with our government here that's not just failing us as South Africans and the people in the country, but failing the country itself. And that's why we were backlining. We were literally going three steps back. And there was nothing that we could do as South Africans except voting and when it comes to elections. However, the elections has been so, in a sense of, I wouldn't say demoralizing, but it comes to play where it comes by voting, and the vote advertising the ANC comparing to the DA. Because you'll see the Western Cape always winning the majority, and you'll see the Northern Cape mostly when Jacob Zuma was there as well. The nations as KZN, the Zulu Nation voted for Jacob Zuma, and it shows you the strength as what Jacob Zuma has, because he was the third. Actually, I'm talking absolute not. Yeah, he was the third biggest majority of voters.
Yeah,
and it. Exactly. And you know what's a scary thing, Justin? I think for the new election coming up, if the majority rules, he will be the most, I think, not just for the party itself, because people didn't vote for the party, the people voted for Jacob Zuma.
Zuma himself, yeah.
So I think because of the manifesto was late, I think the manifesto was about, 6 months late, prior IEC elections or the electoral voting, and I mean, look at the majority of votes they received. It was tremendous.
You know.
Yeah. Just give me two seconds. Just give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll just be speaking with the audience here. Okay. So it's very imperative what John Steenhuisen was saying. You know, John Steenhuisen, what he was saying about having to keep those guys out of the government. The ANC and the DA literally have to pull up their socks. The GNU, whatever, it has to pull up its socks, you know. It has to work hard. It has to make sure that people believe in this thing, in functionality. Otherwise, then the rogue, those people who are just voting roguely, are gonna vote MK into a big party.
No, 100%. 100%. And I think, Justin, if you look at the MK majority, I salute the MK party for gaining so much followers. In 1 year, pre-election, 6 months before the IEC actually voted MK in. But you know what's a funny thing, Justin, is that if you had a king because this is how people are looking, with big eyes at Jacob Zuma as their king, because he's obviously within the Zulu side of the nation. And if you look at what he did in South Africa, if you look at the track record of Jacob Zuma, if you look at the things he said, the things he did, and even prior the Zondo Commission, when he was summoned by the Zondo Commission, he lied. He lied about, firstly, he was summoned by the Zondo Commission. He never came. He never went to the Zondo Commission. And then he was unfit for trial. You guys remember when he was so ill and you couldn't. Well, firstly, he went to jail because he didn't appear in court. So then he was sentenced to spend months in jail. And then when he was in jail for the first month or 2 months, I think it wasn't even the first month. Then he felt ill. Apparently, he was so ill he couldn't stand. He was unfit for trial. He's going through a heavy amount of illness, and obviously the judge and the jury at that point said no. We'll what was it called? They will pardon him, but the person who pardoned him, correct, and who pardoned Jacob Zuma? It was Ramaphosa, because Ramaphosa pardoned multiple people in prisons. Because apparently the prison volume of people in the prison was too much for the state to keep on, because they're not getting a lot of funding from the state. That's why our prisons are so occupied, and the horrible conditions in the prisons for the prisoners. And then it was said no, but they're going to pardon a percentage of prisoners that sentences was inclining to 3 or 6 months. That was mostly for 2 to 3 years. So they were pardoned with Jacob Zuma. So then he was out of jail, no problem. Okay, so Jacob Zuma's out of jail. The Zondo Commission is still on. The weapon case with Aish Magashule and with himself is still undergoing today. That trial, or that case trial, is still going to happen. With or without Jacob Zuma, it will happen. And then just before that, you get your elections that you need to register through the IEC. So now he's unfit for trial. He was voted off with the South Africans vote with no confidence, and the cabinet, and a lot of political parties that took hands on taking him out of presidency, and the cabinet with him as well, to say Fatzak out of the cabinet, out of a governmency.
Yeah.
But then when all of that happened, and the trial, and in the jail, and he was too unfit, his health is in decline, he can't do anything, shame, our country was like, oh, shame, the Toppie's too old, right? Then he started a bloody political party as MK.
You see how tough he is?
All right. Then he started.
How tough he is.
I see how tough he is. No, you see how soft our constitution is when it comes to something like that. When it comes to corruption. So then he was unfit for trial. Started the political party. Then before that, before the elections, there was a brilliant journalist that went to Nkandla, and a lot of people wanted to interview him. He said no. The party itself said no, but except this one lady was supposedly accepted and invited to his house in Nkandla. She went there, and he.
I remember that interview. Yeah.
You remember when she asked him, Mr. Jacob Zuma, what would you say to a lot of South Africans that feels that they can't trust you, number one, and then secondly, all the accusations. And then she brought up that rape case, the grape case against a specific lady. And then it was said he went into the shower and he washed himself off. Because allegedly the lady that he raped had HIV. You remember? And then he said, no, he jumped in the shower and he washed it off. That was one of the things he said. And then, brother, then he hadn't. It looked like he wanted to swallow or kick this lady out of his house. And then she asked him this, Mr. President, because she was obviously very sarcastic, but also secondly very respectfully towards him by saying, Mr. President. She said, Mr. President, what would you say for the voters out there for the new upcoming elections? You said multiple times on media, and your spokesperson and your lawyer said that you're unfit, you are too unfit for trial, you're unfit for accusations against the Zondo Commission, and then obviously the arsenal or the weapon case that's coming up. Now, how can you say you're so unfit, but you you look? And she asked him, Mr. President, you look very healthy and you look like a strong horse. And he said yes. So then she said, oh, okay, so you're too unfit for your trials and for the Zondo Commission, but you're fit to lead the country again. And then he was
so he got angry.
He got very angry. Go look at it. Just say journalists went to Nkandla. And then you'll see I can't remember the lady's name, but she's brilliant. She did it phenomenal. And then he didn't even say a word. He got angry, got cross, and then he said, yeah, you media outlets are trying to change the story or sabotage his name. There's no sabotaging. It's just our country. So,
it's a real
we've got, but I think our country's got, those latches that you put over a donkey that you can't see in front of him. He just goes one way. Now that is where the majority of people in our country is at, and I'm saying I've got a lot of them on as well. I'm not saying politically wise I'm correct or incorrect, but I'm saying our country made everything such a norm, and a normalizing that what our country is going through is normal, and it's not. The graping, the unaliving, the political situation we are in.
Jack, I've studied, economics and all these type of things. Like, they've been a huge part of my schooling journey, like as modules, right? Economics and whatever. And economics is reality, bro. You understand? And economics will tell you straight. In an unequal society, you are going to have strong levels of crime. It's proven. It's scientific, economic sciences. They will tell you that an unequal society is a dangerous society. Do you understand?
No, that's true. That's true.
It's not that people of South Africa are just animals or they are crazy or what. No, it's proven through studies that you need to balance out. You need to make sure that it can't be that you have very, very rich neighbors or what, and you are staying in a shack and you don't even eat at night. Do you understand? Not to say I'm condoning any crime or whatever, but those things as a politician, those are the type of things that you have to think about. You really have to think about it, because the more that divide becomes, the more in danger the people that have money and all these things, they're not going to live safely. Do you understand? So it's a very, very big issue that needs to be solved. Every person, ANC, DA, whoever is in this thing, they have to make sure that the living conditions of people, are okay. That's how you're going to have a beautiful South Africa. That's how you're going to have a South Africa where it's safe, it's everything is going the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
White people are safe. Black people are safe. Colored people are safe. You see the thing that's happening there in Cape Town, the Cape Flats. That thing is not right, man. It's very, very evil what's happening there, bro. It's very evil. Like, they're burying young boys every weekend.
I've never asked your real name. What's your real name, Justin?
Yeah. My real name is Gift.
Gift. Okay. My real name is Jock. So
your real name is Jack. Okay. I'm gonna post this on YouTube. So what name should I use for you? Jack's Lip, the way you put.
Yeah, you can just say Jock Lip. It's fine, brother.
Yeah.
Just King, it's let me give you a little bit of a background, and mostly of South Africans that lives in I almost said in suburban areas, and people that lives in the cities, not outside, not in the skirts. I do travel a lot. I've got a quite long history in South Africa with different provinces. I've been privileged enough to be born. I'm born in Namibia, but my family, my father and mother, that's not here anymore. They are South Africans. They were born in Cape Town, and the one was born in Vrystaat. So they were just, trying to have a go at it in life, and they immigrated to Namibia for work related for work related issues. They went to Namibia, immigrated, and then obviously for a very young age we went back to South Africa, and then obviously I was raised. I don't know if you know where's Oudtshoorn.
No.
You have no
Which
idea.
province?
You know that Oudtshoorn is a groot vol paradise. Come on, where all the ostriches are. It's very well known for ostriches.
Oh, I've heard of it, but I don't know which province is it in.
It's close to George. You know where's George?
Oh, yeah.
It's about an hour's drive from it. Okay, so
Yeah.
I've been raised there in primary high school. Then obviously my very young adult life went back to Cape Town. Then from Cape Town, I also went to Port Elizabeth, saw Port Elizabeth, went back to Cape Town, and then for work-related things went to Johannesburg. Know Johannesburg quite well, in and out. And then from here on out, obviously with things that I do as work, as employment, like I
Where
told
did
you,
you study?
where did I study? Well, I told you about Oudtshoorn.
No, I mean like
studied in
where?
Cape Town.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you mean the
Okay.
school,
And
universities and stuff?
It was in Cape Town.
Oh, yeah, Cape Town. So then afterwards, like I told you, where I'm end up now. Yeah, education, it was more IT related. And then IT related, it went upon management.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Now I was just asking.
but it's a bit of everything. So I studied quite a lot of things.
Oh yeah. No, I was just asking the geographics of where you studied. Okay, you were in the Western Cape. Okay, I get you.
Okay. Yeah. Western Cape.
I get you.
So so I think.
So, okay, you wanna say something?
Yeah, no, I just want to give you a little bit of a background of me, Just King. You know, more or less, if you see me again on the live, you're like, I remember, that's a fellow South African. It's not a person that participates. I'm not a imperialist. I'm not a capitalist. I wouldn't say capitalist, more or less. Not a nationalist. I'm not a majority of people that would be socially or a communist or imperialist, like I said. And there's a lot of different word or capacities of saying what would you think you are, because these days there's hundreds of words of what you want to think and what you believe in the agenda of political views in South Africa. I would say I would call myself a national capitalist because I believe in our country, but I also believe in capitalist. And that two things works brilliantly with each other, because if you believe, Just King, you want to start a business in any form, in any way in the country, you're a capitalist, because you're gaining and you creating work, you're creating capital for your country, therefore you're a capitalist. And a lot of people are saying, no, but it's wrong being a capitalist, it's better to be a socialist. How can you be a socialist if you want to hand everything over to the state? That makes your country a communist state, because then that is what we are at the moment, Just King, and it's getting worse, because now they already seized everything that you own in this country. They seize your ownership, your title deed, right, that you have was mostly that you owned. Now the banks normally, and most of the banks here in South Africa, has got such a big majority of title deeds in their pockets. So you don't own that shit. Then your cars that you have, it's owned by the bank anyways. That is prepaid anyways, that you have to pay through the banks. Then your housing or living, like I said, it's not a common thing anymore that the banks, the majority of your house is also owned by the state. So then they already own that shit. Then majority of your tax, where does your tax go? It depends on what tax bracket you are in, right? So they're already taking flipping 15 or 20 or to 30% of your salary. That goes to the state. Then you get food taxes. Then you get your petrol taxes. We even get water taxes. You get sugar taxes. You get alcohol, your cigarettes, everything that comes inbound in South Africa, you get taxed on. So you don't own shit anyways, but you're paying for that. Then your enterprises such as Eskom, that you pay electricity to, where the tariffs goes up tremendously every year, 15, 20% in some cases. You pay for it, they make money. The Transnet, the train system, the railways is so fucked up anyways, that 70% of the people in South Africa needs to use taxis to get to point A to point B because the government failed us completely to help transport. SA Airlines is bankrupt. Transnet is bankrupt. Majority of any private-owned entities that's now state-owned is bankrupt. So the government already owns that. Now the government wants to tell you as an individual that they already own everything that you have in South Africa. And you know, it's the worst part, Just King. We are the country that's almost by a 60% unemployment rate. And they're telling you, listen, yeah, if you die of old age, or in other similar cases as unaliving or accidents or whatever the case may be, your salary, the majority of what you own as an individual, before it gets, handed over to your family members or to ever your loved ones that you handed over to in your testimony, your government will take at least 30% of that as well. So if everything I told you just now, Just King, doesn't that sound like a communist state?
It's sounding exactly like that.
That sounds exactly like a communist state, right? Okay.
Yes,
So
it does.
So now our
it's
government
just
is
left for us
saying,
to just put the name.
exactly, and our government is saying to us, listen here, we'll try to give you as what we can as a government, as what we receive from our taxes. Our country is one of the biggest VAT and tax in the world, with the highest unemployment rate in the world.
Yeah. Just one thing that I couldn't understand in that whole Trump meeting. Why are they asking for help from the United States? And also, another thing is that government owns a lot of land. Government owns a lot of land. Why is it that they need to be told by someone else? What are these people? What did they go to school for? All these people that studied, there are doctors, there are PhD holders who did thesis and all these type of things. How can they execute? How can they distribute the land that they already own to train farmers, work side by side with Afrikaner farmers, impact skills, work together, utilizing the land that's already there before we get to any conversation of expropriation bill or why can't we do that? Is it like are these people completely incapable? Like, why can't they use their mind or their PhDs and all these things? Why do we have to ask Trump to help us with security and drones and Starlink? Why do we have to do that when we have expertise? What's the knowledge for? What's the education for?
You know what, brother? I think we've got
the most incredible set of people in the world, if I may say, when it comes to engineering, like you said, when it comes to the thinking capacity of South Africans with high degrees and high demand around the world. If it's not for, let's say, the medical field as doctors, nurses, when it comes to practitioners that we have, also like sole proprietors around the world, the industry, we have the best. I mean, look at our sports, our agriculture in the world. People want us as South Africans. We have a very big torch in the light in the world, in the globe spectrum of what we have as working occupations that we can fulfill, because we have I wouldn't say the within ourselves, but as South Africans, we've proven ourselves over and over in the world as what we can and would achieve. I think what you said, why didn't we gradually go within ourselves as South Africans when it comes to the ministers and when it comes to the people that actually aligns themselves and makes the, I wouldn't say the approval of it, but that would normally give the go-ahead in South Africa, that has the golden spoon when it comes to, planning out South Africans' infrastructure. I'm talking like now the whole infrastructure, not just the infrastructure of the political side of things, but when it comes to the infrastructure of our economy, when it comes to our infrastructure in the municipality origins, like for example, normal basic needs in South Africa, like your roads, your water infrastructure. I mean, just to keep the lights on here in South Africa is a Musa issue. Every single week you get a different notification. We'll have 14 hours of load shedding, and then you don't know what's going to happen in South Africa because our infrastructure is completely derailed, or it's completely crippled within the actual entity because they sucked the whole company dry because of corruption. And I think we have the capability of doing it, because I think no one wants to invest in South Africa anymore, Justin. Because the reason for it is that, yes, you're a title deed owner, perhaps, Justin, but this whole new expropriation without compensation scared the living shit out of the investors in South Africa. I mean, why would you, as an individual, Justin, you got $2.3 million, all right, as an American or wherever in the world, and our country is saying and pleading, no, please come and invest in South Africa, Why would you do that? Because they said, listen, if you have a property or you're a title deed owner in South Africa, doesn't mean shit. If the government or some within the government, that is the leaders of the expropriation bill, that goes to a public, or the public goes to the government or to the government and said, listen, we believe it will be beneficial for, let's make a stupid company open, Just King. Let's say you've got a factory there behind in Atlantis, right? And they come and they say, listen, we feel fit that this factory will be better because there's a river at the back. We can see for the public usage. We can actually change this factory into public schools. We can change it into a hospital. We can, use it for the public and better usage, because at the very moment, these people in the community are making money and not helping the public. And you know what the expropriation with no compensation means is that, yes, they will go to 3 or 7 lengths to provide documentations that will plead with the owner, or let's say if it's a PTI with directors, they will go to them and say, listen here, we're pleading with you with this amount of money or this amount of buying you out or whatever the case may be, right? You still, as an owner or as an owner or the director or whatever the case may be, say, listen here, we do not feel that this amount is fitted for the company. They said, oh, okay, no problem. Then they go to court cases. Then it goes to the High Court in court cases. Then that poor director or owners right? Let's say the factory barely makes their target, or normally you don't make your target. In some cases, you make your profit in 3 months or 4 months. Now they have to take all those profits, go to the court, and appeal towards them and saying, listen here, we feel this amount, and whatever the case may be, right? Now, let's say this court case endures for 6 or 7 or a year or at most longer. That country is going, damn it, man, that company will then obviously bleed out because they can't afford the court cases, the lawyers, they can't afford the whole ordeal of it. Who wins? The state, because now they're going to get forced on, or it's going to go to null compensation. Because now null compensation means, okay, cool, you dried out, you don't have a choice anyways, we're buying you out left with the amount that we feel fitted for your company, or on the right side, it's going to go for the public use, and we're going to take the whole factory over because we feel this is going to be beneficial for the public use. That is how the compensation or the expropriation with null compensation works, Justin.
Okay, I think we're about to wrap up a little bit. So, what I want to know, right, after everything, after the whole meeting, do you think there's a solution? Do you think we're going to go somewhere with this thing? Or do you think it's going to get worse when it comes to Afrikaners leaving, deciding to leave, Trump himself? Do you think this is going to, whatever exodus they are saying is happening, is it going to continue, or is there going to be a resolution?
Well, just to give you like a demographic of it or statistic of it, this is something I've actually, it was on a media outlet, and it was through a lot of media outlets confirming this. And I never knew this. Do you know that in South Africa, we only have about 230 or 240,000 farmers in South Africa? Regardless of your ethnicity, if you're black, colored, white, doesn't matter. There's only 240,000. Listen to how scary that is. We had over 700,000 farmers, commercial farmers as well in South Africa.
Yeah.
We only had 200. Now in 2025, our population in South Africa doubled.
Yeah.
Our grocery package that we earn through your salary decreased because we can't afford shit in South Africa. You need to at least spend 8,000 to 10,000 rand in groceries just to survive a month. Now, the commercial side of things, now there's only 240,000 farmers that needs to feed 8 to 9 million South Africans.
That's crazy. You know,
Explain the demographical statistics to me. How are we as South Africans going to survive if the rates decreases in the commercial farming?
that's bad. That what the previous number you said about 700 and something showed that this country was doing well before.
We did.
It was moving. Do you understand?
Brother, listen, after one of our heroes, Nelson Mandela, our country was flourishing because people were saying, it's not going to happen. They're going to have civil war in the country, blah, blah, blah. You know, was the cuck that they said. Yeah. No, our country stood dead still and said, we'll show you, world. And we did. Nelson Mandela did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Nelson Mandela, his age caught up to him. And then we had Mbeki. Mbeki, he also did a very shit job. But let me tell you, my brother, there was always in the backbone of the ANC. And you know this is also a fact because I know for a fact our parents and grandparents, your grandparents told you that, my grandparents told us that, and everybody was normally also playing that game. You know, Talafuinki. Someone whispers in someone's ear and goes to the length of it. Where they said, if Nelson Mandela passes away, our country is going to go into shit. There's going to be some sort of civil war, or there's going to be some sort of altercation, because we all knew the ANC and everybody in South Africa had the respect for Nelson Mandela. And the cabinet of the ANC was very respectful towards Nelson Mandela. And then after he passes away, what happens? Just
horrible
cuck.
Horrible things happen.
But yeah, just I think on your just to just to end off, just to land my plane. I think for our country, I think we have what it takes to rebuild this country. I think we have everything that we can. Well, the tools that we have in South Africa, we've got more than enough tools in South Africa.
Yeah.
We've got more than enough land. We've got more than enough land, and we have more than enough funding in our government to support our country.
Mm-hmm.
We have a cadre system in our country where it's only the elites that makes money. The rural or the medium class or the poorer communities of just decreasing every year with their salaries, and then with less income or with the same income for 3 years. So we got full. The electrical grid that we have, Eskom is a fuck up. Our water reservoirs, as we speak, Jaskin, is decreasing because there's no more fundamental aspects of how we fix the rural areas, the water supply. Nothing happens. Our political parties, we have too much political parties in our country. We've got too many political parties and leaders in ward councillors, and in the chambers where they fight. The elites are fighting over each other, of saying, "Listen here, how can we get more money and not worrying about the South Africans?" A very good perspective or a very good example is when the tax increase happened. Do you remember when they were singing?
Yeah.
Remember when they said, "No, but the increase is going to happen," how all of those political parties were dancing and singing. That shows you the incompetence of our country and our leaders, because they would rather celebrate that they're getting a bigger increase in their back pockets than worrying about a person that's lying in the streets, children with their mothers on a robot begging for money, but they fucking celebrating. That's how disgusting our political views or political leaders are in our country. Now, the last thing to say about this, brother, it's not the South Africans, it's not the South African people, but it's the South African leaders that we have. And I think the world as a big first tier country, as Americans, where there's such a big left and right media outlets out there that was not showing the bad side of South Africa. They were only showing the good side of South Africa. And we've got, listen, I'm just sounding negative all the time, but we as South Africans, brother, we've got the most beautiful country in the world. There's nothing that can compare to our country. The problem is that the media outlets are drowning the truth out of, they're sucking the truth out of everyone in South Africa. They're not displaying the actual things happening in South Africa. And I think now in America, there's not a lot of things that I agreed with of what was shown, but the majority of things that was said, I agreed with, by saying we've got a crime problem. We need funding for the crime units. We need technology that can, that can counter the crimes here in South Africa. But the third thing is that the third thing, when they were showing those crosses, if you drive to Polokwane, it's between Mpumalanga and Polokwane. It's on your way to Limpopo, there by Phalaborwa. That's where those crosses against the mountain. You get those in, the biggest ones, or the biggest burials, or they call it burial sites. It's not burial sites. It's
crosses.
It's crosses with people's names on. Yeah, it's what's it called? What's a better word for it?
It's a monument. It's a monument.
Well, I wouldn't say. Yeah, there's another word for it. I can't. Slipping my tongue now, but that is not a burial site. But you can call it the burial site because every single individual, their names on their crosses, regardless of your skin color, brother. If you're a farmer, you're a farmer. Because all of those crosses.
Yeah, the one I remember is the one where it's almost like on a mountain or on an open space where they are like in like they form like a square. They go like this and then like this.
Yes,
that's the one that I know. I didn't know the one that's on the road.
No. The one, the photo or the video that a lot of the people are portraying now are saying no, but that's in a DRC. It's not. Those cars that was on the line, there was a national protest. Remember, there was a national protest about a few years ago for
Yes.
farmers.
Yes.
When that Brendan guy that was unalived. Remember, he was unalived, and there was a massive protest. EFF members was there. It was a massive
Yeah,
thing.
no, I
Remember?
just saw it on the news now when they said they already reported on it. It happened a few years ago.
Yeah. So they had a national protest where they went and there was cars and mostly buckies and tractors where every single bucky and tractor there was a cross at the back. So those crosses, every person that was recorded, every person that was unalived, well, farmer now, they took and they put it against the mountains. They did it in Cape Town, they did it in Gauteng, they did it in KZN. They did it in most of the provinces to bear respect for farmers that lost their lives due to violence.
Okay.
So that was something that was showed, and then Ramaphosa had the audacity saying, "But no, this is propaganda." Well, sorry, he never said anything.
He just
like
said
that. He had the
just said that he
audacity
doesn't know
by
those
saying he has no
Because
idea.
even me, I didn't know
Yes.
those ones, I only knew the ones that are
No,
on
but
an
I mean,
open field.
yeah.
The ones that are on an open field. Those are
Yeah.
the ones I knew. I never knew the ones on the road, So I get it when he said,
No. There's no crosses on the roads. It's people, like I said, they had it in the back of the buckies or tractors. It was never on the roads. They just planted it, for.
I see. No,
Yeah.
Jack, yes, we go back and forth. But one thing for me, you are a young man. Do you understand? And when you are a young man,
How old are you now,
I
Justin?
just turned 30.
I'm a young man. I'm 32, brother.
Yeah, so if we go back and forth, I don't want us not to have conversation. We need to have conversation, especially you as a white and me as a black, to showcase the diversity of South Africa. Do you understand? So there's a lot you have to say, even though we don't agree on certain things, what, but there's a lot that you have to say. And if we have a chance to throw this dialogue and I put it on YouTube, you never know who's gonna hear it. It's not for me. It's not
Yeah.
for you. It's not for ego. It's not for this conversation is not for us. It's just let it just be there online. Whoever finds it finds it. It's an opinion.
You know what? You must DM me and then you must show me the link,
Okay.
brother. I'll go follow
Okay.
it. You know what is it? You know what is it? Like you said, brother. Like you said, we're young men. We're 32. We basically just I would say men. They always say, no, you're an adult when you're 18. Nah, brother. You need to turn 30 before you actually become a man. Where you actually get that sense you went through a lot of shit. You went through heartbreak. You went through losses. You went through having nothing at the point, having everything at the point. You grow up. That is when you become
the
a
cycle
man.
of life.
In my
cycle.
the cycle
no.
of life. Yeah, exactly.
Nah,
So,
thank you.
big respect to you, brother. And like I said, we had our up and downs. I know there's a very lot of radical lives out there on TikTok. We met, and I've heard how you came up for me. I've heard how you got angry at me, but this is vice versa. But at the end of it, we normally have a very logistic point of view in South Africa. I've heard you speak a lot of sense and a lot of love. You speak a lot of love for South Africans. And I've heard you where you said, listen, I've got nothing towards any other, let's say, no race group involved, but different cultures in South Africa and people from different parts of the world. People, let's say our neighbors, such as Namibians and people from Zimbabwe, Botswana, Zambia, Tanzania is quite far, but our African brothers and sisters just on top of us. I don't and I agree with you, Justin. Nothing wrong with it. People from Malawi, love and respect. But if you do come into South Africa illegally, it's wrong, because imagine we do the same thing towards their country. Brother, will be locked up.
It's not gonna be nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
There, man. In Zimbabwe, there's a road called Presidential Road, the President's Road. If you walk on that road at a specific time, you are getting shamboked.
You're joking? For real?
Yeah, Mnangagwa's road. If you walk on that road at a specific time where they said you are not supposed to walk there. They are shamboking. They're gonna beat you up very bad.
Well, thank you for letting me know because I actually need to go to, well, after Cape Town, just sorted out my passport and stuff because I need to go to Rhodesia, Zimbabwe quite soon. And thank you for letting me know because then I'm gonna. No, you said it's in Botswana.
No, Zimbabwe, yeah.
Is it Botswana or is it Zimbabwe? Okay, now you know. You must DM me that road again. Yeah, you must DM me the road, and I know for a fact I will not drive that road. I won't be in the middle of whatever time. I won't be there, brother.
Okay. No, Jack. Thanks, bro. Maybe I'll have another one. I'm just gonna have it with different people from TikTok that I see, that I communicate with here. Maybe we'll do another one. We'll just see how it performs, this one. But no, thank you, bro. No problem.
Why don't you add on more like people on your live?
Oh,
You know how to.
yeah. No, I'll do it. Yeah. I know. Okay. Because this one, I wanted it to be like almost like an interview, you know?
I
interview
get you.
type
I
of
get
thing.
you.
Yeah, so I'm putting it on YouTube, and then I'm gonna have another one. But I'll see you on the next one. Maybe I can add more people. But I don't want it to be too many. Maybe two.
Nah, I get you. Just put this on.
Okay,
Just put this on YouTube.
I think someone. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just
I think
just do
someone-
this, just King, the last part.
Yeah.
Just say love, respect, South Africans. Doesn't matter what culture, doesn't matter what religion. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you're from overseas, if you're born in South Africa, if you have citizenship in South Africa and you believe in South Africa as a country and you believe as us as South Africans can one day achieve that what we ever thought would be possibly achievable in South Africa is what Nelson Mandela wished. He fought against white domination and he will fight against black domination. And that's something that we as South Africans lost. We lost the plot and completely, and we all showing fingers towards one another, and we forgot about a normal one love that we tried to achieve, and it was just downplayed, unfortunately. But we can achieve it.
Okay. Now, just this is a conversation. It will be there online. It will exist, and then that's it, man. Just how we contribute to the internet, to the world. Whoever finds it, finds it. We'll continue and talk another time. I'll see how I do it next time. Maybe I can have two people, maybe. But I just wanted it to just focus on one person. Your viewpoint, It's me and your viewpoint, you explained fully your views, and you did. So this is basically your interview, actually. So I'm going to put it up. So thank you, bro.
Man. Okay, well, you must let me and ask you questions, brother.
Okay.
But you say you're a little bit off now, or you want to answer?
You want us to continue for a few more?
We can if you want to, brother.
Okay.
We can if you want to.
We can. You can ask me a question.
Let me ask you, brother. What do you feel fit for a political party, or what would you say would be the beneficial party or political party, or let's counter this. What do you believe in first before you can answer those questions? What do you feel will be beneficial? Is it more a capitalist? Is it more national side of it? Is it more imperialism? Is it socialist? Is it communist?
Okay.
What do you see fit? What is it that you believe in?
What I see fit, bro, it's capitalistic society. All those other systems, they failed. If you want to talk about China did the communism and all that, communist society, but They changed it at a certain point. Even though it is, they put it as that, but it's very, very capitalistic. Capitalism is the way. Capitalism leads to the development of places. We wouldn't have a centene, you know. We wouldn't have a centene today if there wasn't any capitalism. You know, all those banks, all those insurance, all those, what they did there, they created the richest mile, that's richest square mile in Africa. Do you understand? Which is a further development of South Africa. It's a place that today we beat our chest with, like centene, centene. The whole of Africa, centene, centene. It's something that was just developed right now after apartheid. Do you understand? Like in the 90s, some of the people I know that moved there early, it used to be bushes there. It used to be like open land. It wasn't what it is now. Within a space of 5 to 10 years, it became what it became. All thanks to capitalism. Do you understand? So capitalism leads to competition. It leads to growth. It leads to competition and all that, but all for the benefit of the person who stays in that country. It's all for the benefit of that person. You get to develop, you get to have those skyscrapers, all those type of things. If there wasn't such a thing, it wouldn't be so easy, because government would not have the ideas. Government would not have the creativity. The creativity is born by competition. Competition brings creativity, because you design a big skyscraper in a business, an insurance business and whatever. I want to compete with you. We are in the same market. Maybe I've been in the industry for long and you just innovated to be better than me. I'm going to want to be better than you. I'm not going to be I don't want to be outdone by you. I'm going to also implement those things and do them better. And then another person is going to come. You have now 5 different companies that have established this huge business. And now you are offering, okay, how do you beat me now? You now improve the technology of your business. Now you can use cell phone. Now you can use different machines to make transactions faster and simpler. Okay, I see that. I'm like, how do I compete with that? Let me create even an AI system that works. Let me use create a bank that uses AI. Let me be ahead of you. Let me make it even more simpler to bank. Who's benefiting? The whole country is benefiting. It's making life easier and simpler for everyone else. We now have, you look at South Africa, we have one of the best banking systems. You know, in America, you don't have these banking systems, these things like transactions on the phones and all this, the simplicity in South Africa that these banks did, FNB, ABSA, whatever they innovated there, it's world class. It's not even in the States. Some people in the States, they come in South Africa and they are like, wow, this banking system is so crazy. Like it's one of the best in the world. Do you understand? And we did that ourselves. It's an innovation of ourselves here, competing amongst each other. Do you understand? So capitalism is the only way that you can have a very, very beautiful country that is well functioning. Everything is functional. Yeah, that's my view, bro. I don't know how you feel about it.
I believe in capitalism, like I said, but I just fit something in front of capitalism, and that's national capitalism. Because then, if you believe in capitalism, nothing just wrong with it, because capitalism in the same form, but national capitalism, meaning that you want to start a business, or you would profoundly ensure that you're actually putting where your money is, and you're putting it and actually funneling it back into your country, creating working employment, and just funneling the money back into the country, but to the public, and also creating job opportunity for more South Africans and growing the economy. So that's, for me, national capitalism. I love that word. So we believe in the same thing, brother. I think the only difference is what we don't believe in is I think you would rather eat tomato sauce and I will eat hot sauce. You vote for Kaiser Chiefs. I vote for Orlando Pirates. I'm a Chelsea fan. You look like a Liverpool fan. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
The only difference is that we've got different, unique tastes in life, but and
Yeah. Exactly.
of what our country wants and needs in the end of it.
Okay. So you got another question?
Okay, so what political party at the 2025 and this new upcoming municipality election would you vote for, and why would you vote for them, and why would it be beneficial for that political party to take control in South Africa, except the ANC?
I would say the only option for me is the DA. It's the DA because I feel like they need to. They've said a lot of things, you know. A lot of things have been said in Parliament, in all these type of things. I need to see how a party like that can manage power in different places, not just the usual places that they get power in. I need to see them in a place that I need to see them in Ekurhuleni. I don't know if they've done it. I need to see them in weird places, man. I need to see how they can implement and not just talk, you know, for multiple different people. That's what I want to see. I want to see the DA out of their comfort zone. I want to see. I want to the majority or the general public in like a very very unique place. C D A reach there as once, so that we can see, are you really what you say you are? You know, are you really what you say you are? They need that chance. When it comes to other parties, for me, I would have said EFF, but to me, EFF is a complete. I've counted it out. To me, it's dead, bro. EFF is dead. There's nothing to EFF. I don't even want to see them anywhere because they've come to my province. They were doing Pulukwani and all that. They did very horrible job, you know. They did a very horrible job. And when it comes to parties like Patriotic Alliance, very bad. Like, I don't understand, you know, because the man Gayton McKenzie has changed. He's no longer who we thought he is. I think he's got a double personality. He's got a double personality. You don't even know what he stands for, really. So for me, the only option is the opposition. I want to see how they do. I want to see how they perform.
Very well. Are you still there? Okay, sorry. No, you're still
Yeah.
going. Go, brother.
Oh, no. Did you hear what I said? Yeah. You know, about the DA. I just need that, man. I've never seen them operating. I don't want Pretoria. I don't want this and that. I've seen how they operate there. Some places they've done well. Some places it's questionable. Some places this. I want to see how they handle. You know, you see like how they were in KZN. There was some community there. There were municipalities that they were running with Chris Papas, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. That was very interesting for me to see. It was very interesting. I want something similar to that. I want them in Limpopo. Do you understand? I want them in Limpopo. I want them in Mpumalanga. I want them in Eastern Cape. You know, I want to see something, especially a place like Eastern Cape, where there's so much poverty, where there's so much undevelopment, especially in rural areas. I want to see. That to me will prove whether you are the real deal or not. If you can handle that, if you can prove that you can outdo the ANC there, in places whereby people use drums, you know, drum that contains water. People use that drum to get inside so that they can cross over a river. You know, you use that to go to school. You have to get into a drum, and then that drum they close it with a lid, and then they roll it, and then it gets to the other side of the river. Then you get out.
You're joking. Are they doing it now as we speak?
Yeah, in the Eastern Cape, kids when they go to school, they inside risking your life actually, just to cross a river. And then from when the other person on the other side, they take out the lid and then you get out. Then you go to school. It's bad, bro. I want to see the DA in areas like that. I want them to to see if they can outdo the ANC with small stuff like that. Because all those people need, man, is just a simple bridge. You know, it's just a simple bridge. You know?
Yeah, yeah, like you say, you know, like normal basic necessities, like you said, like a bridge for school. I didn't even. You will show me the link where that is.
I'll send you.
I'm shocked. I'm so shocked, brother. I didn't even know that that's happening in some areas in South Africa where that shit is happening.
Eastern Cape.
You know, and like,
you know that show
Yeah,
called
no,
you know that show called Cutting Edge on SABC One. There's a show called
Yeah.
Cutting Edge. They've always been showing that. That's why people say we're dissing the Eastern Cape for voting ANC. They're saying the cutting edge province because they're always on cutting edge, showing the most poorest places there in the Eastern Cape.
bro, like I didn't even know that. That's still like I've heard about some areas where that happens in Africa, but I've never heard that happening in South Africa. And like you said, that's in Eastern Cape. I'm shocked, brother.
Yes, bro. Yeah, man. Anything else?
My little one is running around here in my ears. I'm sorry for the noise.
Okay.
Yeah, well, like I said, you said it here, and I'm excited that you say something like that. But you know, me as a person, I would the way I saw John Steenhuisen playing devil's advocate. I'm sorry, Justin. Let me just quickly get my daughter here ready. Just give me a few seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, Justin. I'm back. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, you know, me, I'll be honest. I ticked that box, DA. For my community at that point, I was in Cape Town, and I think their policies in the manifesto, obviously, you know, looking at different political parties out there, I felt closer to the DA of the policies that I would feel credible for our country.
Yeah.
I would say the inner core of the DA.
Let me just greet Mr. Mzansi. That's my friend right there. I hope you're still there, bro. Mr. Mzansi. Okay, you can continue, Jack.
Yeah, so like I said, I ticked that box for the DA because I felt well, you know, deemed to be fit for the manifesto and then obviously for South Africa.
Yeah.
I believe in the core of DA. I still feel fit for the DA to be the leading political party in South Africa. The only problem is I don't agree with the leaders in the DA, such as John Steenhuisen. I mean, he showed a little bit of his side when he went to America with Ramaphosa and the three individuals, Justice Goosen and obviously Rupert and else. And you saw him baffling around with some words when he was asked directly from our president with the altercation, where he thought that those individuals are going to back him up, and obviously they threw him under the bus. But John Steenhuisen, he was very adequate, he was very calm, he was very precise, and he mentioned a few things that made sense. But in nutrients of everything, if you were summoned, and I get it, it's part of the GNU, you can't throw the president under the bus if you want to still be part of the GNU. I get it completely. And a lot of people made claims and saying, yeah, but he was a chicken and he didn't point fingers to Ramaphosa and the ANC cabinet. That he should have. I felt that if he did that, he would most probably choke the DA out of the GNU. He would have. So he was playing devil's advocate at that point, and I don't think it was wrong, but I don't think it was right either. So the political call of the DA, I still think they should get the opportunity to run all provinces and not just the Western Cape and some municipalities or cities around, well, the majority is in the Western Cape, but in some sense of provinces. But I want them to take a turn in a governmency where they can alter the constitution and where they can alter new demographic systems on our political blueprint of South Africa, where they can achieve a better outcome for all South Africans. Equality, equity, and bring everyone in the same foot. Everybody's got the same startup when you put your foot out of that door. And I think, I actually agree with you, Jusking. But I just think Alan Zille and John Steenhuisen, man, it just, there's a little bad taste in my mouth. But I still voted for the DA. Don't get me wrong. Because their policies at the very moment and manifesto is far superior than any other political party out there. That's a fact. That is a fact. And I love it. I love the way you think, Jusking, like you said you were looking into voting for the EFF, and you thought about it, because obviously the things they said, even the manifesto that they brought up, was a little bit better than the ANC, but then it was far-fetched when it came to the border control. Remember, that was a
the
bit
time when maybe I considered it was the year before elections. You know when they were trending, when they were doing the whole thing in the stadium and all that. But I was never really in. I was just listening what's happening. But the man just completely lost his mind, honestly, to tell you the truth. Like, he just literally, I don't know what the hell happened, but that man is just, you know what when they say downward spiral, that's what you call a downward spiral. Like, it's like you're just flip-flopping. You don't know what you're saying. Okay, one moment you're talking about land, this and that. Okay, now you're talking about discrediting Mandela, discrediting all these things. Okay, now you're talking about foreigners. Now you say borders must be open. To me, it just seemed like a man who's just gone off the rails, So, and knowing what he did in Polokwane, in Limpopo, when he got the opportunity to run there, that just showed me a very, very incompetent person. Very, very incompetent. I knew from then that this man, he can never be. I'm glad the whole country saw it.
In your words, in Polokwane, like you said, when they achieved to run Polokwane, what happened? What is it that put a bad taste in your mouth? What did I do wrong?
Nothing. No water. No management of simple things, municipal failures. Just nothing. Looting. That's around about the time of VBS also. Do you understand? Around about the time of the VBS scandals and all those things. So all I saw was just looting and no maintenance, just 10 times worse than ANC. 10 times worse. You can tell that this man, if given an opportunity, within 2-3 years, he will be rolling over ashes. This is the type of king who rules over ashes. You know, people who rule over ashes. To me, he's the same as a Robert Mugabe. He talks a good game, but trust me, this man is gonna bend this country down to the ground. He almost bent Polokwane down to the ground completely.
100%. No. Listen here, I agree with you. I don't have knowledge of precisely of what happened to Polokwane during the municipality, like you said, during the VBS whole scandal and whatnot. So I take your word for it. And yeah, it's sad to hear, like you said, what happened in Polokwane in the municipality side of things. And like you said, he had an opportunity to take action. He had an opportunity to show the community and the people why they voted for him, and he let them down.
You know, for me, I like to give opportunity. You know, I like this thing of like, let's test this one out. Let's test this one out. Let's test this one out. Okay, ANC, you got a lot of chance. Let's test this one out. And for me, DA shouldn't be excluded from that as well. Okay, let's see. Just like the GNU. Okay, let's see. You know, let's give Leon Schreiber a chance. What can he do? You know, people have gotten chances. Why can't these guys also get a chance? Let's be with them. Let's see. Maybe you got more skills. Maybe you got something. Let's give you a chance. You've been saying you can do it. Go ahead. Do you understand? If not DA, if even Freedom Front Plus. So that's why I love that even Freedom Front, they are in correctional service. It's your chance to prove yourself. Do you understand? So I shouldn't be able to cast you out because you are white. To say, no, you should never get a chance. No, get a chance. Everyone, every black, colored, that's what I'm saying, PA as well, Patriotic Alliance. Here's a chance. Here's a chance. That's what I believe in. Not your skin, not whatever. Here's your chance. 3 years, good 4 years. Let's see. So that we can also criticize you at the end if you did not do well. You know, that's an inclusive society. Not that I completely cast you out because, no, he is white. No, because it's colored. No, because it's black. No, man, I must give you a chance. Let's see. We are playing a game of dice here. Let's see if you can roll better dices. We are all in the same team. Do you know?
Listen here, I think you need to put what you just said, put that on YouTube, brother. I think that thing will trend. I think, no, but that, I totally agree. I agree with you. I think that is definitely how the country should be at the point. But I think at the moment of time, Just King, I think we've rolled too many dice. I think not even Monopoly, the game, rolled more dice than what we had in the political stances in South Africa.
Yeah.
And I think we battered. At such a point that if you turn us around, the other side is already halfway battered. So we need to put everything aside with our political points and views as South Africans. Don't vote for a political party where you think you will get the upper hand on it. Think of what it would be as a beautiful future for your children's sake. For the upcoming engineers, upcoming doctors, upcoming, let's say, singers, musicians, sports players, something that you can look back on and say, wow, remember that time when we all voted together, South Africans, to achieve greatness? And look at us now. Now we are in this whole conundrum of, damn it, are we voting to the left? Are we voting to the right? Are we going to vote for something in the middle that has a Bill Gates where it can say, if you do vote for this political party in all directions, not to the left, not to the right, where it shows you that the actual democracy that we achieved in 1994, that comes to light, that comes back into South Africa with a humble light. And it shows that that political party, that individuals that's leading that political party, give them opportunity, like you said, Just King. Just give them opportunity. And then let's say if they're not credible enough to run the country, no problem. Vote without confidence, and listen, we did vote for these guys. They're not achieving that we want, and our country is declining. And that is something that has been happening, and I don't blame. After 1994, The ANC gave them opportunity. Rightfully so. They had a lot of things to change to have everything in a level playing field where everything needs to be radically changed because it was wrong. When it comes to the economics, when it comes to opportunities given to children and for the education, and then obviously for your adulthood, employment, and etc. I get that. I get the transformation of BEE, 100%. Don't get me wrong. But after 30 years, Just King, after 30 years, it doesn't work because it doesn't empower anyone. It doesn't. It created more unemployment in South Africa.
You know, it needs to be adjusted to see that is it actually doing what it's supposed to do? Is it destroying others in the process? Do you understand? It needs to be adjusted. Not that it needs to be cancelled completely. Let's readjust it. If we have to rename it, rename it. And then if another group is struggling, let's create a counter to also to empower them as well. Do you understand? Let's
You know what I think would be better, Just King?
Yeah.
You know what I think would be better? If they took the equity, well, let's say you can say equity. If they take 30% out of a company, right, to start the business, that's what BE is for. So if you start the business, you need to give 30% of your company, your shareholding, over to and this is how it works, for employment of a black individual in your company that needs to have 30% shareholding of your company. Why not take 30% and give it to the employment or employees? Why do you take the 30% and give it to one individual? You're creating a millionaire,
Yeah.
right? You're creating a millionaire already. Why not give them the funds to all individuals or all employment of the company and say their shares, and you're empowering them?
Exactly.
That's a bit, I would actually think about it. It will still affect a business owner,
Yeah.
but you're already losing that 30% anyways, because if you want to achieve any cooperation with the government, let's say you want to get a tender from a government or work with the government, you need to anyway give 30%. That is the basic rule now of BEE.
Yeah.
So why not just give the 30% of equity or the amount and share it individually with your employees? Wouldn't that be more achievable and
Exactly.
enriching and empowering all individuals in your company, and not just being race based?
It's just, that's it. You have to keep adjusting. It's all about adjusting. Certain things were fine then, but as we go forward, as we see how the country is doing, how the people are doing, you just have to adjust. If something cannot be adjusted, then that's poor management. That's poor management. You are not managing a country. You are not running a country efficiently, because you're gonna end up leaving people behind. You're actually gonna even end up leaving some black people behind. So it needs to be adjusted for things like even corruption. Tender mafia. I know you've heard of the tenderpreneur mafias, the construction mafias.
I know.
Those type of things, so that those things don't end up running this tender issues and all this, and creating more corruption. It needs to be adjusted accordingly for nation building, which I don't think is being done. And I'm glad that you guys, white people, though I don't agree with some of the things, but you are keeping people on their toes. You are keeping everyone on their toes. You are getting everyone to think. And I think it's very important as people that every one of us, as black people, we've been talking, So the fact that you guys are talking, it shouldn't be, yes, of course, there's some racist things some guys say, but there's something there that people can, to me, it just shows the beauty of South Africa, that we can talk, we can share our views and opinions, and we can take it further. We can share it to the world. We can make it an issue. We can really discuss. which is what why I still believe in South Africa. You know, the fact that we
Me too, brother.
that's why we can talk, you know. I can be angry with you, hey, AfriForum, they did this, they did that, but this is our conversation, unfortunately, that needs to be, they need to be heard, you know. They need to be heard, not just for white people, but even for the black people who can never get opportunity, who can never be part of tenders, who can never ever be in those rooms. You understand?
Well, brother, there's a saying, just King, there's a saying, right? You can take 10 different ethnicities, right? And ethnicities meaning you can take a white man, you can take a black man, you can take a colored person, you can take a Chinese, you can take an American, you can take whatever ethnicities, whatever different culture groups. Actually, let's put it in a better term.
Yeah.
You can take 10 different culture groups, different religions, and different ethnicities. 10 of them in one room. Brother, you're going to have a party on your hands. Listen, they're going to party, my brother. Give them some brandy, they're going to be best
Yeah.
friends. But then you take 100 different ethnicities and different culture groups and different religion groups. There's always going to be a dispute. But the beautiful thing about it is, the most beautiful thing about it is that you can still respect one another. You can respect other people's belief systems. You can still respect other people's culture groups. You can, like I said earlier, you can be a Kaiser Chiefs supporters, Orlando, and I can be an Orlando supporter, or I'm a Stormer, you're a Shark supporter. But we still, if you take that clothes out off, right? Because you're openly showing who you support. But if we put on the same shirt, we wouldn't even know what we're voting for and what our thoughts are about, and we are as individuals. However, we respect one another, because if you look across the road, or when there's in traffic and you look to the left and you look to the right, and you see South Africans going through rough patches in life, enduring the same things that you're enduring in South Africa, in your area, your community, you respect one another. And that is how South Africa should be.
Exactly. No, exactly, bro. Yeah. You got another question? Or
Yeah, I think the last question, I would say, Just King, formidably, what do you think South Africa, as now, I'm not saying what's going to be in the next month,
yeah,
but in the next 5 years, I think we've had a rough patch of 10 years now, but I think in the next 5 years, because now the new elections are coming up again,
exactly.
the municipality elections is coming up again.
Yeah.
It would be quite interesting to see what our political leaders is going to basically say to one another after Ramaphosa, John Steenhuisen, and the cabinet of some of the GNU members that went with.
Yeah.
What is your outcome? What would you think the outcome is going to be in the next 5 years? It can be positive, it can be negative.
Yeah.
But realistically, what would you think in the next 5 years South Africa is going to look like?
For me, I believe that this is a turning point. I believe we've gone through the worst. It could get worse. It could get very, very worse. It could be horrible. But I feel that this turning point where everyone is talking, black people are talking, black people are fighting, white people are fighting. Basically what we're doing, we're fighting for our country, both of us. Us black people talking about the foreigners and all these things, we are fighting for our country, we are fighting for our spot actually in the country. White people, they are fighting for the management of the country, to roads and all these type of things. Problems in the law, in the legal systems, and the different parts of acts that have been put there. So I think we're at a place where the government is actually, they're on their toes. The government is on their toes right now. There's no sitting back now anymore. ANC, you got 40%. You really got your back against the wall. Do you understand? DA have got an amazing opportunity to prove themselves. They've got an amazing opportunity to deal with the borders, to deal with the illegal foreigners. If the DA can deal with these things, Leon Schreiber, if he can deport, if they can deport foreigners in large numbers, and if the ANC also can pull up its socks regarding job creation, regarding all those type of, I don't know which other departments is there. Is it trade and industry, right? The Department of Trade and Industry, International Relations, all these type of things. They basically got 3 years actually. It's 2026, 2027, 2028. Literally 3 years to pull a miracle. If they can pull off the miracle, I believe South Africa will be in a very, very better place. I believe that we will be rid of the illegal foreigner situation. Of course, they'll still be there, of course, but there will be borders, or at least much better border management systems, much better. There'll be results, and I like the fact that Leon Schreiber is always being accountable. He's always reporting. We've done this, we've deported this many people, or we've turned this many people from the border, we have introducing drones, if that efficiency, I give it 2 years, and the results of that, if these cries can be heard and the government can act, then we'll be at a much better place by meaning that it will be a South Africa that now is forced to include its citizens in its economy. It will be forced, because I recently saw a video of a nurse telling foreigners that, no, I'm tired of dealing with you guys. Everyone here doesn't have documentation. No, you want South Africans. South Africans don't even have a chance to get into the hospital. And she literally closed it off. And there was another lady who was pregnant, a Zimbabwean lady. They refused to help her in the hospital. You understand?
No, I saw that video. Yeah.
You understand? So those are the type of things that, to the foreigners, to all these things, they will start to push back and say, what? South Africa is not as nice as it used to be.
Jaskin, wouldn't you put it in a better, necessarily like a better wording, saying illegal foreigners rather than foreigners, yeah.
Oh, yeah, illegal foreigners. Sorry, sir. Yeah, illegal foreigners. Those ones, especially the ones with bad intentions, they will be able to understand that, okay, South Africa is not land of milk and honey. We need to do the proper things. We need to get the documentation. Once that is solved, once this crisis, because now it's a crisis, once we are no longer in crisis, and once some of these laws, these crimes that Rupert and all of them are saying that we need help with, once those systems are put in place, once policing is increased in rural areas, once the cries of the people are heard, I think it will be a much better South Africa, or at least a South Africa that is, we are gonna go back to at least the way we were when President Mbeki ended his presidency. I really think we can be there. I feel like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like we can almost reverse it to 2008. So basically we're starting over from 2008 again, without a Zuma this time. We are gonna get back to there where we were in 2008, before the whole situation started happening. I believe that's as good as we can get. That's as good as we can get, correcting the wrongs of the past and whatever mistake that we made by voting Zuma in. I think we can at least get to the end of Mbeki's presidency. I think so.
And listen, beautifully said, Jaskin. Beautifully said.
What would you say about it?
No, I think you hit it on the head. I think you said everything correctly. I think respectfully towards foreigners, but
through illegal foreigners in South Africa. I think, you know, if we did the opposite, the vice versa, we did the same thing in their country, that we wouldn't get such a warm welcoming as what we do in their country, or sorry, what they do in our country. So I think if we can radically change the illegal immigration in South Africa, we would achieve something where we can say, okay, we balance that out. We can create more job opportunities as well, because that will minimize that. The unemployment rate is obviously adequately, wouldn't say counted, but via your municipalities, that is what it is. That is something that shockingly is accurate. 60% unemployment rate almost in South Africa.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying that it's propaganda, but it's not propaganda at all. It's it's something that's realistically happening in South Africa. And like you said, I think if you can take the backlog of the problems and issues in South Africa, like you said, if you can just readjust those issues that happened in the past, just 10 years ago, just 10 years ago, and it can dramatically change the outcome in the next few years coming in South Africa.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah, man.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, man. It's a very, very complex. I'll tell you, DA has got a lot of work to do. ANC, it's really both of them. They got the world on their shoulders right now. It's them now. It's like it's your time now to prove yourself. And if not, you saw what happened in the election. Literally, 3 years. 3 years.
Yeah. They normally do a very, like, it's not normally accurate, but they do like a poll reading, statistically putting into play by saying what would the next electoral voting outcome would be. That's no municipality or provincial elections, but it showed that the ANC dropped down to 40%. So that is a very big outcry. A bird almost shat on me. I'm standing outside and there's one bird on the roof.
Yeah.
Almost. It was so close, just kidding. I promise you, it was like a few centimeters from my nose.
Oh, you in Joburg, right?
Yeah. I'm standing outside quickly, but I'm checking up, and I just hear the splat here next to me, and it almost touched my nose, brother.
I'm there. You almost, yeah.
I'm full kak op my neus.
Yeah.
Almost. But yeah, no, I like I said, I think in the next upcoming election, this municipality election is going to be very, very crucial for our country. And I think, like you said, I think if the DA can get a very big foot in that door, where they can show, because I mean, look at the track record of municipalities, and I think that is where the DA strives in. I'm not saying they all unclear or cleared off, saying that they do not do the best, but however, if you look at the track record, comparing to other political parties that's obviously elected for those ministerial positions in the municipalities, that they're not doing their jobs correctly. They're not a functional party that can actually a better outcome on it. But like you said, I think the track record on it is far superior. So yeah.
Oh yeah, before I forget, one last guy. What do you think of Gayton? What do you think of Gayton? Is he a disappointment? Is he what? What is it? Because I don't understand.
I'll give my honest answer. I'm not gonna flip flop around it. I think in the beginning there was some pulling towards him, where there's a lot of things that he said that I liked a lot, right? when he was saying he wants the what was it called, the Home Affairs. He wants Home Affairs, and he wants to completely secure the borders in South Africa. You know, that was a very big statement in his manifesto, very big one.
Yeah.
And the outcry from the Patriot Alliance,
Yeah.
where they basically said they'll follow him, you know, across any border, meaning they will follow him until the end. And I think there's a lot of people that gave them an opportunity in some sections in provinces such as Knysna, Beaufort West, where shockingly the municipality, and I was there a few days ago in Beaufort West, and well, not a few days, actually a few months, I'm lying.
Yeah.
And I drove through Beaufort West, and I spoke to some residents. I spoke to some residents in Beaufort West, and a lot of feedback told me that the Patriotic Alliance is doing a very shit job by running the municipalities, because they went into a coalition with other political parties. And there's one thing I know for a fact. You can't run a municipality, and you can't run a chamber correctly, and you can't run a city that is in such a high caliber of sitting, such as Knysna and such as Beaufort West. And a lot of things was promised to the community of Beaufort West, and absolutely nothing was done. There was nothing done. There was supposedly to be sports fields to be built. There were schools that was promised for the community, and still today, fuck all was built. Nothing was built. And the backlog of issues, just municipality awareness, right? Just normal basic needs such as water supply for Knysna, for an example, is you can go follow up on this, Justin. You can see the municipality of Knysna is in such a massive crisis for normal water supply. The reservoirs is in crisis. The municipality backlogs is in crisis. So I think fairly enough, they're a very small majority party, such as the EFF. And like you said, you give them an opportunity to run something, right?
They don't do
And
it.
yes, they've never had the opportunity to run it. So obviously, maybe it takes a few months, maybe it takes a few months in towards it, but it doesn't take you a year to correspondingly fix the issue in play. So if you get the opportunity, pull your socks off. Pull your socks up, do your job correctly, give what the people want, because that's why you were elected in the first place, to run a municipality, for an example. And it's and I think for him, he was flip-flopping, because he used, this is my own personal opinion towards it, he used religion in a very big space in the communities. He really did, Justin. I'm a devoted Christian myself. I've got a lot of faults towards it as a Christian, but by using religion in communities, and I'm not saying, you go up to a podium and you say, thank the Lord, thank you God, bless our country, bless our community. There's nothing wrong with it. What I'm saying is, Justin, you don't get priests in the communities to go out to churches and communities under religion to hand out posters and to say you have to vote for this person because he's a devoted Christian. You don't do that. That's wrong. You don't do that.
No.
And that's what he did. He did it in a lot of communities, especially in Saldanha. He did it in the Western Cape. He did it quite heavily. And I don't agree with it. I don't go as a political leader and go to the church communities or to go to a priest and say to him, listen, we would really like you to come to our podium or to our stadiums where we would talk about political situations, because
Situation.
the reason for it is that you've got a lot of different religion groups around you, right? A lot of religion groups.
Yeah.
You got Muslim people around you. You got atheist people around you. You've got Christians around you. Judaism around you, and you can carry on with the religion groups. And you go and you tell them that if you do not vote for this political party, and in the community, you don't vote for a certain religion group, and that is what he did. So that actually
bad.
pulled me a little bit back towards him. Yeah.
That's bad. Like, can't do that. That's elitism. Some sort of elitism. It's
Yeah.
backwards. It's backwards. It's
Yes,
backwards.
yes, and you know what, Just King, there was a lot of followers from the Patriarch Alliance, because he became quite famous when and it's so sad when Jocelyn, when that poor child was we still don't know what happened in the story, but it indicates to selling the poor child, or there was something involved, but nevertheless it really doesn't matter what happened. But he went on social media, and I get what he was doing. He was trying to help the family members, he was trying to help the community, but in the sense of it, he went on social media, on TikTok, and he got a numerous group of following because of what he did, and there's a whole backlog of it, and I'll take my hat off towards him for trying his absolute best for the community. But there was a lot of members specifically in that party, or the political party, on social media, that was horrific towards other people on social media.
Yeah.
Especially if you voted for the DA,
Yeah.
because it's in the Western Cape. So they tried to forcefully pull it down your throat that if you don't vote for the PA, the Patriotic Alliance, you're not a real coloured. You're not a coloured individual because you don't vote for a Patriotic Alliance, or you don't vote for NCC.
Yeah.
That's a national coloured.
Party.
And I think NCC is National Coloured Council, something like that.
Yeah.
So they basically, you can call it what it is. They are a culture political party. So you have to vote for that party, and if you have to basically vote for that party to be an ethnic group, and if you don't vote for that party in the community, that makes you a what's the best word to say? A draadsitter, meaning that you don't stand for the community. You're a flip flopper in the community, and you're not a real coloured because you're not voting for the ethnic group. Yeah.
The ethnic group itself. Wow.
Yeah, that is what happened with the Patriotic
that.
Alliance.
Yeah, I never knew that, eh?
Oh no, listen here. Let me tell you, Just King. Here's an individual, and with a lot of respect for Mr. Votright. Mr. Votright is here. You can actually bring him up.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a story, Just King.
Okay.
This man he's been harassed. Harassed, brother. If I say harassed, I mean he received death threats. He was called names. He was called a what is that bloody word that they normally called him? They called him a banana. They called him, colored in the outside but white in the inside. So yeah, they called him a lot of things. And you listen here, this man stood his ground against them. He really did. So. And I think you know him quite well, Justin. You need to pop into Mr. Votright.
Yeah.
You know the community, the way you think.
Yeah.
Everyone in the same community, same breath.
Hey, Mr. Votright, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm well, man. Nice. I bumped across your live now, and Jacques was here, so I had to pop in because I really love Jacques immensely. He's sort of part of my DNA nowadays.
Oh yeah, no. I also
you know what he-
there.
You know what he wants to say, Justin? He meant that Just a few years ago, I think I phoned him more than what his wife phoned him, and what my wife phoned me. We phoned a lot. We called each other. We met each other, and yeah, he's a very humble person. Yeah, that's a word. That's a word. So people called Mr. Vote Right the coconut because he didn't vote for the Patriotic Alliance or the NCC because he's a coloured individual in the Western Cape. So
Yeah.
they called him that. Yeah, and it's despicable. It really is despicable. It's like someone telling you, Justin, you don't vote for the EFF in your community. And because you're not voting for EFF because you're now a black individual, and because you're not voting, you're voting for the DA, you're a coconut.
Oh yeah. That's horrible, bro. Like you can't have that, man. It just shows that these people are not really putting in effort to compete, to compete in the politics and actually focus on the key issues, which is to provide service for their people in such a way that you actually can be someone that is considerable. Because such stories, when they go out there, you're never gonna amass support. You're never gonna officially be. The thing with ANC, let me say even DA and whatever. They've been proven, like they have like that. They have a proof of concept. There's a proof of concept there. So it's very important for these parties to create proof of concept. What is proof of concept? You've been tested. Do you understand? So such things like what I was saying about the EFF in Polokwane, they've been tested to see. They're actually the most horrible. They're so incompetent. They can't even provide water. They can't even do anything. The place was absolute hell for the people when the EFF was running in Polokwane. It was a hell. There was no service delivery, nothing. Do you understand? And the way the man behaved himself, you are not proved. You understand? So the same with Gayton McKenzie. Stories like this, or Saldana, whatever, that is his base. That is the base.
Oh no,
With
no,
the
no.
colours and all those.
You know what, Justin? Let me tell you now. Gayton McKenzie
Yeah.
is trying his absolute best, and I'm not saying his absolute best. Let me put it in this way.
Yeah.
If he was an impeller, the max size of the impeller, that is how badly he wants Saldana. Saldana is something, he wants Saldana as his baby. The residents of Saldana, let me tell you, in the West Coast, will never hand him over the solitude of that key of Saldana to Gayton McKenzie. Never in a, sorry for my French, guys, but not in a fucking million years will Gayton McKenzie get.
Jacques, you know why he wants it, eh?
Why?
Because of the port. And
Because of the what, Mr. Dean?
the port, the harbour.
Oh yes, the
You know
docking
what comes
docking
through
port.
there. You can see how he's playing out, what he's up to. You can see exactly, so that port, there's always white powder and stuff coming through that port. So there you go. That's a reason why he wants it. And not only that, Jacques, do you remember with the Jocelyn Smith scenario? Now, why would he and Rob be close to that when the report of Jocelyn Smith was taken? Why would he then be there? Now, Jacques, go back to when we were doing the lives in 2024. When what has happened there, Jacques, and you'll remember now, he did not campaign anywhere except he was there with the Jocelyn scenario all the time. So when there was major campaigning for 2024, he was actually there. So that was his campaign. So now you put two and two together, and you guys can think for yourself. Tell me what you guys think.
Well, Mr. V, I would say I'm not quite sure. Okay, the docks I know exactly what you're talking about. There's a lot of, like you said earlier, Justin, there's a lot of trading. And West Coast, Saldanha is one of the biggest docks in South Africa, if not the biggest. You get Cape Point, and then obviously Saldanha route is just a few kilometers upwards, but also massive tradings that comes into Saldanha. And I know the Eigevis group, they own the majority of Saldanha. Saldanha is through Veldrift. That's obviously there on top of where Jocelyn and them are from, and Vredenburg. Then you go upwards to Langebaan. So it's a very, very unique area, the West Coast. And there's a lot of fynbos. So it's a very safe haven for natural habitat for fynbos, and like in it, it's called a nature reserve for fynbos. So people that would really like that area is because there's a lot of mining in those sectors. One of the biggest phosphate mining in Africa is just close there to it's called Hopefield. So it's very close by. So a lot of people would gladly, with open arm, get the opportunity to be a leader of some sort, that they can run Saldanha. But without the two municipalities such as Bergrivier and Saldanha, it's very difficult to get there. Because if you're not from the West Coast, and you don't live in the West Coast, or you don't have residents or family members in the West Coast, you can forget about it. No one will trust you. And there's something like Gator Mackenzie that has a lot of housing in different areas. He's got a house in Camps Bay. He's got mines in Rustenburg. He's got mines in different sectors in South Africa as well. So that man has got a lot of money, bro. Don't think that Gator Mackenzie doesn't have money. That man has money that we can spare.
So I want to ask Mr. Votright, you found us in the middle, right? We're busy talking about the whole Trump-Ramaphosa meeting. So what I wanted to ask from you is, what do you think is going to happen? Was it a success? What is your viewpoint? What's going to happen after this, leading all the way to 2029 elections? Is this fruitful? Is it going to lead to a more exodus, or whatever they call it, of Afrikaners out of South Africa? Is it? Are we still gonna? What's gonna happen in South Africa?
Do you mean refugees or exodus? Exodus, it's basically when you leave. Yeah.
Yeah. So they call it refugee, but it's almost like they are calling it almost an exodus. Out of SA.
Wow. Anybody is allowed to leave the country. And you can see there was only 49 people that took up the offer on that side. Because this is our country. We are patriots.
Yes.
And because we are patriots, we will fight for this country, because we're all born from the soil. That's why we need to start understanding that we see no color, because all racial groups offer a hell of a lot to South Africa. That's why South Africa is successful compared to any other country on the African continent. And when you look at those things, you have to say, let's shake hands, let's unite. And then you will see we'll have a better and greater South Africa. But with Donald Trump and with Cyril Ramaphosa, Cyril's been, I think, he's been given like 2 to call it 5 weeks or something like that, or a month. Mm-hmm. Because he's been given instructions. Now remember, apartheid wasn't broken down because of those years the UDF taking charge of fighting in the struggle. I fought in the struggle. I've been arrested, I've been tortured. So when you look at these aspects and you go into what Trump has told him that he must do, that is where the difference is. And will Cyril comply? I would say yes. Because it is important, because Cyril's got money overseas. He's got money all over. So if he has sanctions on him, his money's worth nothing because he cannot get it. You could see Cyril's facial expression. You could see, why did he take a delegation like that? He took a delegation like that that was represented by business, a sporting fraternity, and CUSATO, the Union of the People. And when you look at it, and you take into consideration the message behind the doors that was given, and yes, BE is one of them. The bylaw that he put on the land exploration, that was purely, that's never ever going to happen, because that was put there to gain the voters back. You know, because everybody's speaking of giving land, but nobody gets land. I mean, the EFF has been discussing these things how long, but they cannot, they'll never have the power to give the land.
10 years.
Neither will the MK as well. They won't be able to. What and the problem with the MK at this point in time is they want to enforce the Zulu tribal law onto the entire South Africa. So that's going to be a curse for South Africa, and that's where things is going to go horribly wrong. So we must be thankful that these things has happened as well, because if Skylink, Elon Musk has his link up there, you will be happy because we being online. We are the people that are more happier to have better internet. And no matter what rural area you're in, no matter how old you're in, and there's certain mines that you will be in and you'll still get internet underground. So we need to consider all of these things for us to take our country forward. It's technology.
So basically what you're saying is, if we do allow Starlink and Starlink and all these things, you think that South Africa can be in a better place 3 years, 4 years from now?
Within a month, we will all have access to that. And that will already make us all better, because now not only can you go online to check where the closest hospital is, because then you'll have internet, or you want to find out, I'm feeling groggy, this is what's happening with me, and you go and you quickly research online, and there you get the answer. Then you know, hang on, I need to go to a doctor. Or no, I can kill myself. So there's a lot of benefits to it. Why starve the people of it?
You know, you can, with the internet, you can literally help yourself. You can research home remedies of this and this, and you do it, you are healed.
Just King, I wanted to make a joke now. I wanted to make a joke, and he said, "Help yourself." And what?
No, but there's so much to it, because remember, I just gave you that, but now if I must go more deeper into it, anybody who's busy going through an educational level, they have access to knowledge that they need that will empower them. And that's what the ANC government's been doing for this past 31 years, was to bring our education system down. We have worse education today than what we used to have Bantu education during apartheid. And when you look at that, you ask yourself the question.
Just imagine.
We need to look at this. We need to educate us. We the people. We need to be educated so that we can have a better future. Why do they want to suppress? The ANC wants to suppress, and the ANC and all the other parties are involved. They're all the same. I mean, PA is part of ANC. Action SA is now ANC like as well. So when you look at all of these things, you ask yourself the question: why aren't we being educated on a higher level? Why don't they want us, the people, to be on the same level as what they are, so that, because they are earning the money, because they want to keep the power all the time. That's what it's all about. Their families will have the power above us all the time. So Let us learn to educate ourselves so that we can understand, and don't vote for those 1994 parties to 2025. Don't vote them in. Give us every right to opportunity. We your
Yeah.
voice. Where
You know,
do you live?
you know,
King, where do
yeah.
you live? Just King, where do you live? Which province?
I live in Louis-Trichardt.
Now you see.
Limpopo.
Now, if you open up a branch for Ivy right there, you will see the powers you'll be giving to the people directly, because that people will be able to take it. Now if Ivy Wright have a president that's a president of the country, now he's not doing the right job. But on a daily basis, but on a
you know Louis-Trichardt. Do you know
on a
Louis-Trichardt?
day, yes. I don't know it completely, but I do. I think I've driven through there once or twice.
Yeah, like when it's after Polokwane, you
Yeah.
pass it, you know. So all the buses that are going from Messina.
It's on
Yeah.
it's the same as there but N1 when you drive to
Yes.
Polokwane to Palaborwa, right?
No. When you
Another
go
place.
to Messina, right? But it's far
Yeah.
from Messina. So all the trucks that come from the border, they pass through my town.
They must go past there.
They pass
Okay,
through my
get
town.
you.
Yeah. So everything from that's coming from Zim, from wherever. The first town is Messina, as you know, it's close to the border.
Now,
Then you travel.
Justin,
Yeah.
send me a DM with your WhatsApp number, and then you will see what power you can give to your people, because remember, they have a vote on a daily basis with this party. So if this party have a president inside government, and that president's not doing the right thing and is being corrupt, then within 2 hours to 7 days, the members of AV Right can remove that president. Isn't that what you want? You, the people, have the power all the time.
For sure.
So, Judge King, to give you a little bit of a background, I
Yeah.
think Mr. Vice